News, but another storm is continuing to wreak havoc in the province between the province's ambulance paramedics and the government that is forcing them back to work. The fight turned nasty over the weekend when more than 4 dozen paramedics did not report for work. And that, of course, caused BC Ambulance Service to move some crews around and cause some shortages here on Vancouver Island. The union says members had a choice not to come to work, but the government calls that unacceptable. With more on the story, we're joined by A News legislature reporter Shachi Curl. Shachi?
Eric, whether or not the province accepts what happened, the union is saying things could get even worse and has even talked about escalating to a general strike. Ambulances waiting at Victoria General Hospital for their next call out. A scene far different from the weekend when their crews were called out to work in Vancouver, leaving the island short.
I think that decision was ill-advised.
The exact circumstances around what led to this are in dispute. Late Friday night and early Saturday morning, more than 50 paramedics did not show up for work. Their union pointing to sickness and exhaustion.
Paramedics are simply burnt out from working 7 days a week.
Their employers pointing to an escalation in a 7-month labor dispute after paramedics were legislated back to work.
Well, it's rather extraordinary to say the least when you've got 50 paramedics with 2 hours notice phoning in and saying they're not coming into work, and that's clearly not acceptable.
The union says the real sticking point isn't about how much workers are paid, but how much overtime they work. They say it's too much and they're burned out.
There is a staffing crisis. We need to fill the vacant paramedic positions.
But the health minister says overtime can also be a lucrative part of the job.
I don't begrudge paramedics getting overtime. I think that's, obviously that's a big part of their income and they enjoy it, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Numbers from the BC Ambulance Service show that between April and September of last year, the average full-time paramedic worked 78 hours of overtime, and they earned anywhere between $21 and $48 an hour while on OT. That's why Kevin Falcon is accusing full-time paramedics of trying to have it both ways.
And if they're too tired, and as the union leader says, and they're finding themselves stressed out by doing too much overtime, let's fix that problem and let's let the part-timers get additional shifts. We could solve that problem easily.
Actually, the health minister is absolutely incorrect and quite frankly lying here. We had a proposal similar to this at the bargaining table, and that was not part of the legislation.
So what does the union want?
Every aspect of the paramedic profession needs to be investigated, and a report needs to be made with recommendations on how to fix the ambulance service.
And though the strike is officially over, if that doesn't happen, the union warns the hits will just keep on coming. Now, Eric, both sides talked through the weekend at the Labour Relations Board, but seem no closer to reaching closure or peace. Meantime, the Labour Minister, Murray Cole, is set to begin a review of the way the BC Ambulance Service and the government renegotiate contracts, considering how disastrously this process has played out. Meantime, Union President Barry O'Neill is backing away from threats of a general strike for now.
We'll stay tuned.
All right.
Shachi Curl reporting. Thank you, Shachi.
You're welcome.